So I think I'm getting a little bit tired about reading and talking about the RTX 3080. So let's do something completely different. Let's talk about the RTX 3090. Hey guys, Tiago here with Classical Technology. Thank you for joining me for another video. Remember to subscribe, smash that like button. Also remember to follow me on social media. The links will be below. That way, if I have any news about RTX 3080s or 3090s, I'll definitely be sure to let you guys know faster. So this last week, the RTX 3080 has absolutely stolen the spotlight from basically not only any other GPU, but any other piece of tech like nothing else has done in a very long time. So we've talked a lot about that. We know everything that's happened. Let's focus now on the 3090, which is imminently about to be released. Let's talk about a few important points that you should know, especially compared against the 3080 and the upcoming 3070. So the first important point that we're going to talk about is its price to performance ratio. From Nvidia, $1499 for the Founders Edition, and the third-party cards will be anywhere from that to almost $2,000 depending on the actual third-party GPU. And now this is definitely over twice the price of the RTX 3080, and there were a couple of sort of leaked benchmarks and even murmurs that the performance really isn't there to justify that cost. Some people said it's going to be as low as maybe like a 10% gain in performance over the 3080. If you take a look at this tweet from Hardware Canucks, they mentioned that it has around 20% more cores than the 3080, which doesn't always equal to 20% better performance. Now, it would be pretty awesome if you did get 20 to 30% better performance than a 3080, but most likely things won't scale necessarily that way, at least not in most games or applications. So while yes, you're definitely going to see better performance, it is a more powerful GPU, it does have more VRAM, you're not going to see an explosive difference in terms of the difference between the 3080 and the 3090, especially for that price. So this is one thing to keep note of. I don't think the hype is anywhere near as much for the 3090 as it was for the 3080, even though for reasons we're going to talk about, a lot of people are still eyeing this GPU. Just remember it costs twice as much as a 3080, but the performance increase is definitely not twice as much. The 3090 is certainly an expensive GPU, twice the price of something like this. This is the 3080, so we have to ask, is it going to be worth it? Now, if you can't get your hands on a 3080 and you have the budget for a 3090, then I think it's not such a terrible proposition, because who knows when 3080s are going to be back in stock. As you guys know, they've been very hard to get, but of course they've been coming in and out of stock in different websites. People definitely have them, so it's not something that's absolutely impossible. It's just going to take a little bit of luck and a little bit of work in order to be able to get it. Another point we should talk about with the 3090, generally it's a massive GPU. Even the Founders Edition and the third-party cards that we've seen, it's a very big GPU, so that means it may limit what sort of case you can put it in. Mini ITX is out of the question, unless maybe you're going to water cool it and the PCB is smaller or something like that. But in general, you're not going to fit a card that big in certain cases, so just keep that in mind, because you not only need the space for the GPU itself, you also want to make sure that you have enough space on the bottom and on the top so you get a lot of proper airflow, or else if you choke all that air, you're going to have a lot of heat problems and the GPU is just not going to work as efficiently as it should. So just remember, you need definitely a good size case. If you're planning to get this GPU, make sure to look at the case you have or you're planning to get, measure it, and just see if you're going to be able to fit it in there without any issues. So while some people may get the 3090 GPU because it's the absolute ultimate gaming and app and benchmark crushing solution that we have available today, keep in mind that Nvidia likes to release more and more powerful cards, and I wouldn't be surprised if pretty soon after the 3090, maybe we get something like a Titan card or even a 3090 Ti down the road, and that's going to absolutely sort of eliminate the halo effect that the 3090 has now. For now, of course, it's the ultimate. Some people want to pay extra in order to have that ultimate GPU eke out, even if it's only 10% performance or whatever it is, they want to eke out more performance. So definitely that little bit extra performance will come at a bit of a higher cost. Now, one big benefit of the 3090 for the people that will actually be able to utilize it, now this is when diminishing returns will really come into play, but believe it or not, some people may want to use that technology. Let's say if you're going to be driving an 8K display, you definitely want to have as much power as possible. It's definitely not needed needed or necessary, but some people like to push the limit, like to see the best that technology has to offer, and that's definitely a lot of times pretty exciting as well. Not to mention, people are going to use these GPUs for content creation. I've heard from different creative professionals that actually use GPUs professionally, maybe like in filmmaking, 3D rendering, content creation, and for a long time they were using maybe like 4 GPUs in a system, which can definitely get pretty expensive. So now, if the 3090 is so powerful that you can basically do what you were doing before with maybe 1 or just 2 GPUs, it's going to free up a lot of budget and a lot of space, so that way you don't have to get like 4 different GPUs and have all these logistical issues. You can just throw one huge powerful card in there, possibly 2, and that way, if time is money for you and you're a professional, these will really be able to crunch the numbers faster than anything that has ever come before it. Overall, even if you could, if it wasn't out of stock when it releases, should you buy the 3090? Well, if you're aware that you're going to be paying extra for less of a performance gain over the 3080, then those are one of the factors you're going to have to consider. In general, I would say the 3080 is definitely the sweet spot here. The 3070, of course, seems like it's going to be great as well, but I still think the 3080 has enough benefits that it may be worth it for people, especially over the 3090. But of course, if you can't get your hands on a 3080 and you see a 3090 for sale, then you may have a little more incentive to get it when you otherwise would not. But you're going to be paying for that bump in performance that's not all too significant. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to smash that like button, leave a comment below, and I'll see you guys on the next video.